Welcome and thank you so much for joining us for today's conversation. I am obviously not Ann Powers, even though it may have said Ann Powers in the app, and unfortunately had to head out early due to the Nashville snowstorms. My name is Ashley Shabankareh, use she, they pronouns. I am the board president for Folk Alliance International. I am a proud millennial, and woo, millennials, woo! I want to cheer for Gen Z instead though. Yeah, Gen Z. Woo! I need applause because we're at this wonderful panel with the next generation. It's like, no, this is next gen up in here.
It's a silent
Before we
generation.
begin, I would love to read the bios for all of the wonderful folks that are here on stage. I'm going to start with Stella right on over to my right. Stella, not yet 21. Stella has already used Declaiming Musical First. The Woodstock, New York-born artist was the first solo artist to headline Francis Bluegrass and La Roche Music Festival, as well as the youngest headliner at many of the venues on her sold-out UK tour. Stella launched Nashville's only all-female folk showcase, sponsored by Change the Conversation, and it took it on the road to New York City, Boston, Maine, Connecticut, Berkeley, California, and London. Her music has been heard on 200 American radio stations, and her performances have been featured on CBS, NBC, and Fox, among countless others. Winner of the 2023 Folk Alliance First Time Scholarship, and one of the youngest artists to be given an official showcase at Folk Alliance 2025, and a recent finalist for the 2024 John Carrillo Songwriting Award. Stella has co-written with such pros as Steve Dean, Lynn Chater, and Brent Baxter, and she currently resides here in LA, not Nashville, correct? You're in LA. This says Nashville, but she's in LA now. Give it up for Stella Prince. Great job. And turn on over to Jack. American songwriter wrote, Jack Barksdale has insights and awareness far beyond people twice his age, and he's able to put them into songs that touch listeners. NPR.org said Jack Barksdale is special, and Twangville added, it's hard to escape the impressive maturity of his musicianship and songwriting. Jack is a folk Americana singer-songwriter from Texas. Inspired by folk, rock, and blues legends, Jack started performing original music at the age of 9 and has already shared the stage with Wynonna Judd, Ray Wiley Hubbard, Junior Brown, John Fulbright, and Hayes Carl. Recently, Jack signed a record deal with Truly Handmade Records, formed by the estate of Guy Clark, and has released an album under the Truly Handmade label in June of 2025, featuring many notable guest artists. In September 2024, Jack released his second EP, Out of Order, and in October 2023, Jack launched a 7-song instrumental EP called Phantom Trails. To date, Jack's music has garnered well over 5 million streams on Spotify. And in 2020, Jack launched a podcast focused on songwriters and songwriting called Jack, oh my God, reading out loud is hard, y'all, like, it's hard. Called Jack Barksdale's Roots Revival Podcast. Y'all, please give it up for Jack Barksdale.
Yeah.
Also on over to my left is Feng E. Feng E is a young musical sensation born in 2007. Wow, okay, sorry, I just took a moment. Born in 2007 from Taiwan. His claim to fame began in 2018 at the very young age of 10 when his video went viral playing Tommy Emmanuel's arrangement of Mason Williams' Classical Gas with ukulele in the park in Taipei. He later ended up playing live with Tommy himself in both Taiwan and Hong Kong. Owing to the viral video, Feng was invited to the Ellen DeGeneres Show to play for a worldwide audience, and he's since been on Ellen's show twice in 2018 and 2019, and each video has gotten 2.3 million views. In 2020, Feng made it to the quarterfinals of America's Got Talent. His highest social media demographic location is in the United States. He has become a star in the world of ukulele music, performing and winning competitions around the world in places such as Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, China, and Hawaii. On Asia's Got Talent in 2017, he was the only competitor to get the golden buzzer from producer David Foster. To date, Feng E has mastered 5 musical instruments, starting with piano at the age of 4, and he also has numerous compositions to his name. His notoriety continues to skyrocket through his various ukulele covers of popular music, with over 768,000 YouTube subscribers and multi-million views. His expert renditions and his straightforward can-do attitude has turned the heads and stolen hearts of some of the biggest stars in the world. He currently, again, has 7,686,000 YouTube subscribers. Hot damn! 175,000 Instagram followers and 108,000 followers on Facebook. Oh my gosh, sorry y'all. I'm like reading these numbers and I'm just stunned at the folks that are on the stage, y'all. So please give it up for Feng. Hey. Yes, we were just remarking, I read really fast. I have ADHD, so if I read really fast, I'm so sorry. And last but not least, over to my right as well, we have Buddy Red. Buddy Red is an Atlanta-based blues vocalist and guitarist, celebrated for his soulful sound and captivating performances, drawing inspiration from iconic artists such as Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, The Hendrix Experience, and James Brown. Buddy seamlessly blends traditional blues with contemporary influences, creating a unique musical experience. Committed to garnering the attention of new audiences, he drove 14 hours from Atlanta to Austin to perform at his very first South by Southwest in 2024, including a stand-up performance in the Shade Room's activation. He has collaborated with BMW of Atlanta and the Atlanta Hawks for their partnership and actively participates in the Atlanta Hawks annual Million Meal Pack event, giving back to the less fortunate. I want to give a nice big round of applause. Please give it up for Buddy Red, y'all. As you can tell, these are such impressive resumes. And so I'm going to pose a question to the larger group. You are all, like many would say that you were at the beginning of your paths, but you obviously had to get somewhere and start somewhere. Can y'all just talk about what happened to draw you into music so seriously at a young age? And I'll turn it over to whoever wants to go first.
Well, for me, I knew very early on in my life that I loved music, but I also knew that I was very introverted and very, for lack of a better word, shy. Whenever someone would ask me to sing, I would kind of sing more to myself than whoever was asking me, and I just kind of figured I was meant to listen to music more so than perform it. But as I got older and I realized how much I really do love music, I said, okay, I gotta get over this, because this is really what I want to do. And that was the hardest battle for me, I'll say. But once I got over that hump, I don't know, everything became a lot more fun and started growing into myself, I'll say. That's how it started for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I was 4 years old when I knew that this is what I had to do for the rest of my life. And I went to my parents and said, I want an agent, I want a manager, I want everything right now, I want to start auditioning. And I was just ready to go. And my parents had no idea what to say to that. But they put me in voice lessons and piano, and it kind of grew from there. But it's just something I've always known that I was meant to do.
Love it. Do you want to add to this?
Oh yeah, thanks to my ChatGPT so I can understand your question. I started to play piano since I was 5 years old and play ukulele since I was 6 years old. So I joined lots of competition when I was like super little, like 7 years old or something. And I really like the feeling to be on the stage and performing. So that's why I keep doing those, and I keep joining competition, and the competition become performing, more big stage, television, something like that, and everything just very naturally become my career. Yeah, and it's very late. Like I didn't really think about like, okay, so what do I want to do in the future? I just keep doing things I like, and realize, yeah, this can be a job, this can be a work. Yeah.
Jack.
That's awesome. I really, my parents aren't musicians or anything, and I think, like a lot of people, I just love music, and they were big music fans, so they took me and my sister to concerts and stuff, and so at some point I asked for guitar lessons and started doing them for a while, and, I didn't like it very much, and then eventually I learned enough to where I could actually play songs that I wanted to. I think I learned a Johnny Cash song called Give My Love a Rose. And after that, it just sort of clicked that it was a really fun thing to do and something that I could, you know, write my own songs and you know, start being creative and have fun with it. And so that's what I've been trying to do.
I love it so much. I really appreciate the through line in this. Really feels like y'all started at such a young age because of this passion and love for it, but also you had these folks in your life that helped encourage and foster it. And I think there's something so powerful about having family that is willing to go with your dream, and that's incredibly special. I'm going to start turning it on over individually because I also want all of the folks in this room to be able to hear the amazing talent that all of you have. So each of you have approached a lot of these traditions that you tap into in various ways. Stella, I'm going to turn to you a bit. I know that you really believe in the concept of folk and have looked at classic artists like Judy Collins as inspirations. When you started to define yourself as folk, what went into that decision? And second half, I'm notorious for two-part questions. Does it make you feel more connected to the past and less connected to your own generation, or is it like a continuum for you?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Well, I mean, Judy Collins I absolutely love, and I got to open for her this summer. And it was in California, it was a sold-out show, it was like 800 people, and it was probably the most incredible show I've ever done. And I got to talk to her before the show, and she said, I'm gonna be watching from the balcony and giving you notes. And I saw her like looking very serious, and it was really, I was so nervous, but she was so nice about it. And the one thing she said was, you need to have more fun. And I said, that's very true. I'm very serious all the time. So she really got that. But in terms of folk music, I was born and raised in Woodstock, New York. So that's like the capital of folk music. And my entire life, I mean, my first concert was Leave on Hell, his Ramble, like when I was 3 years old. And Peter Yarrow of Peter, Paul, and Mary like came to my school and played Puff the Magic Dragon with everyone. So it was just this like magical way of growing up. So I don't see folk music as something that's from the past. I see it as absolutely current and contemporary.
I love that so much. Stella, I'm going to ask you to be the first one to come on up and play a little bit if you're okay with that. We'll move this microphone up on stage. Y'all, we're going to give it up for Stella to do the song.
That I've never performed before, so please bear with me, but I recently moved to LA this past summer, and I've been spending a lot of time in Laurel Canyon and Topanga Canyon, which is the most incredible place for folk music. And just a couple of days ago, I went to Topanga Canyon and I recorded a version of this song, which I think is one of the most timely songs ever right now. And it's by Buffalo Springfield, and it's called For What It's Worth.
Everybody knows
style really evoke a certain era, and in your production and your songwriting, there's also these contemporary influences. So I'm really curious how you get that blend just right, like that sweet spot.
I feel like I'm constantly working on that sweet spot. I think a lot of my songwriting and music production comes from me trying to make the music I'm interested in digestible to my friends and family back home where I'm from, because nobody back home really listens to the things that I listen to or interested in the things that I'm interested in. And for a long time, I kind of felt out of place for that reason. And I don't know, I've kind of been challenging myself to take what I love and identify with my home enough to bridge that gap so that, I don't know, my mommy and daddy can say, hey son, I love that song you did. Now understand it. It reminds me of da da da. Good, I'm glad it reminds you of something because it reminds me of Pink Floyd and it reminds me of, you know, the Stooges or the Strokes or people that they don't really know as much as me about. Yeah.
That I dig that so much. I want folks to have an opportunity to hear this blend of styles. Would you be down to perform as well?
Of course.
Okay, great. We're gonna stick that mic back up. We're gonna stick the stool back up, and welcome you on up to the stage.
Why don't you just leave it up there?
So this song, I wrote it when I was on a family trip somewhere in South America, and I was under the influence of a certain flower at the time, and I was listening to Hey Joe by Jimi Hendrix Experience, and you know, by the end of the song, he ends up moving to Mexico for a reason or another, and in my mind, I was wondering, like, what if the story kept going? You know, like, what if he loved somebody else in Mexico, and I had a desire to travel, and I have a desire to travel, so I wrote this song. It's called He Loved in America.
Good luck, baby. The damage has been done. Fue que te dio mi amor. whose face was oh so cute. All the way from America, his guitar he played at the bar. Oh, pretty good too. With a pretty smile, she stopped the boy at the front door. Then what happened? Then he smiled right back at her, left that dead in the tracks. Oh, guess he didn't want to love no more. I don't wanna see your face, stay away, stay away from me. She loved it, America. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you so much, buddy. That was so beautiful. Enjoyed that. Jack, I'm going to turn it on over to you. And that gorgeous guitar. I've been looking at the inlay this whole time. Jack, I really love your point of view in songs. It's individualistic, it's fearless, it's like in a song like Insanity Defense Exhibit A. And you started writing and releasing songs so young. So I'm really curious for you what the process has been like growing into your own voice. I mean, I do understand that your voice has maybe changed as you've been recording stuff as well, so I'd love for you to talk more about that.
Yeah, so, once I started learning guitar, at the same time I was trying to write songs, and after a while I got good enough at guitar that I could put the music to the lyrics, and I just always enjoyed it, and so for a long time I was just imitating the music that I really loved, from Johnny Cash, like my first really big obsession, and some older country artists like Carter Family, and then I got into more of the singer-songwriter type folks like Guy Clark and Townes Van Zandt, Leonard Cohen, and stuff like that, and I just really loved the lyricism and the poetry of it, and so I started trying my hand at that a bit, and eventually I just sort of realized that I wasn't really getting enough from just writing songs for the fun of it. I sort of wanted to do something, talk about things that were just important to me, so lately I've been trying to put more of a message, so to speak, into my songs, and try to say something that I think is important or meaningful. So and then also physically my voice has been changing throughout all that time, and so you just adjust with what you have and keep going.
I love it. I'm hoping, can we hear from you as well of hearing some of these songs? Wonderful. All right, we're going to turn the stage on over to you. Again, we're doing the microphone on and off the stage. So sorry, Kylie.
Why?
A song here that I wrote, and I actually just released a new album, and last year I did, and this one's on there. It's called Only Human, and sort of a strange song here, a bit of an existentialist folk song. Let's see how that works out. We're all living on mythologies, good intentions, bad memories. When we open our eyes, where will we be? On dry land, stranded out at sea. But what can you expect from us weaponized glorified homo erectus? Or walk around like we know what we're doing. The truth is, we're only human. Well, I stand my flaws in front of you. They raise me up and break me too. I'm pacing holes into my shoes, fighting to live and living to lose. It's all in the biology, my evolution catching up with me, building high rises on ancient ruins. The truth is we're only human. Dilemmas and anomalies, shaking up our bones, flooding our minds with absurdities till the conscience is overthrown, driving ourselves crazy, at least those who care to think about the consequences in a shared existence soon to go extinct. Well, the trouble is we know too much, our theory's wrong and life unjust. Soon we all shall return to dust, make our way back to Earth's lonely crust. Cycles repeat, the sun and moon chase us back and forth while we lick our wounds, build it back up till the next revolution. After all, we're only human. But I guess it don't help much to sit and soak. Some reform and some revolt, some find meaning in the folk that live and breathe and give them hope. You've got meaning if you want it, your legs will carry your mind unfunded. I'm tired of all my grief and gloom. After all, we're only human. I'm sick and tired of all our grief and gloom. After all, we're only human.
Much, that was beautiful. Feng, I'm going to turn it on over to you. Like Jack, I know that you really started gaining prominence as a child and were instantly dubbed a virtuoso. And so now that you're a little older, how have you worked to gain feeling and perspective on what you do as a musician instead of just what we might call chops?
Okay, yeah, that is probably the longest English question I get in my career.
I'm so sorry. I'm
Okay.
so sorry.
Yeah. So, at the beginning of my playing, I try to cover and arrange songs I really like, and I grew up listening to rock and roll music and classic like 80s music. So those music are like band music. They have lots of instruments. So what I try to do is I try to play everything together like that. Yeah, something like that. And I just keep doing those and keep playing lots of songs, so that build my technique and that build my trap. But at the same time, I'm trying to realize like how those people write those songs and how they arrange every instrument. So at the beginning, I start to write my own music. I always put too much technique and playing too much. Yeah, so I try to do something reverse, like I try to write song on my computer or with guitar, with other instruments. I try to build the whole song with a band first. I even have a band in Taiwan, and then I try to cover my song with my ukulele. Yes, yeah, so which makes every part of my original song makes sense because it exists as a real instrument first, and then turn back to my ukulele. So I can try to let my ukulele be a band, be an orchestra, something like that. And recently, I wrote a song called Intertwine. It's original. It's for a movie scene. It's about saying goodbye, so it should be very touching and lots of like orchestra. So I just write it on my computer with lots of instruments, and then I turn back and trying to do that on my ukulele. Yeah.
It's amazing. Could
So-
you demonstrate a little
Oh
more?
yeah.
The rest of us are all just nodding going, wow. Also just like being on the stage, I don't know about y'all, I felt like the whole stage like shake, that was amazing. Wow. I'm gonna completely pivot gears now after that incredible moment of sharing a beautiful song. And I wanna to turn it a little bit to talk about the life as a musician, as a young person. You all tour. Some of you have had to figure out schooling while building your career. Others have moved cities from one to another. And so I'm really curious about what you think the challenges for young musicians are that we just don't talk about enough. Because there's a lot of things. Whoever wants to take it first. Jack, you look like you're ready to go. You're like, I got this one, let's go.
Sure. No, I think right now it's just that the music industry is just so different than it's really, it's not the same as it's been, even, you know, it's not the same as it was a year ago or so. So nobody really knows what to do. You know, a lot of the industry folks that knew how to, you know, work things in sort of the older system of music, they don't really know necessarily how to do things today, and so everyone's sort of figuring it out at the same time, and what worked 5 years ago or even 3 years ago might not work again now, and so everyone's sort of scrambling to figure out, you know, what's going on, and so it's just strange how the landscape's, you know, changing, and at the same time you have remnants of the past that don't translate as much. You know, it's definitely much harder to make it a career now, financially and all that. So it's just it's sort of an ever-changing thing that's changing a lot right now, especially in the wider, you know, socioeconomic landscape. It's sort of a strange time to become a musician.
Definitely. Stella, do you want to go?
I truly believe that this is the hardest time in history to break through as a musician, simply because everyone wants to do this. Over 100,000 songs are uploaded to Spotify every day, and yet there's no rule book or like set path, and no one really knows exactly how to find success. So everyone's just kind of trying things and they're not really sure, and everyone says a different thing. Everyone tells you something completely different that's going to help, that what you should do. And so nobody really knows what to do. And it's just kind of confusing and difficult and nerve-wracking.
I feel that so much. I mean, I feel like I used to think that adults knew everything, and then I became an adult and I went, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you meet like 30 different industry people and ask for their advice, they're each going to tell you a completely different thing.
Feng, you look like you have something.
Oh yeah. As a musician, since I was like, I started to perform like since I was 8 years old. So I just take lots of classes from my school, and the children in Taiwan, they have lots of time in school. Like one day is 10 hours, something like that. So I have a completely different life from those young kids in Taiwan. So I can't feel their life and I can't feel their feelings. So it's sometimes I'm really afraid that being a musician too young will let musician can't feel now those days how people feel. So it's really hard to for me to come up with the music that can let them feel happy or sad or something. So I'm trying to go back to school, take more lessons recently. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love that perspective.
Yeah, but as a meanwhile, I'm here. So.
True. Yes, indeed.
If you're young and you decide that you want to become a musician, my advice is to figure out why you want to become a musician? You know, is it because you want to be rich and famous someday? Is it because, you know, you just want to make an honest living doing what you love? Is it because music is therapeutic to you and you just can't see yourself doing anything else? Figure that out first, and once you figure that out, if you have the support and understanding, you know, in your family or in your team, they should be able to help you as best as they can. And like you said, like, people are gonna have so many different things to say, so many advice going around, and then being young and indecisive, it's difficult to know what to follow, when to stop following this and start following something else. It gets a little complicated, but once you understand why you're doing what you're doing, for me, it kind of makes it worthwhile, that whole crazy process. And not seeing yourself doing anything else makes it a little bit easier, because no matter how difficult it is, what else am I gonna do? You know? So that's what I think.
I really dig this. I think a theme that I heard from all of you is like there's so many different ways to approach this industry, and which makes it super complex. And it's true, hearing so many different perspectives about how you should build your career can be really difficult. On that same vein though, like, do y'all have significant mentors that you lean on as you build your career, like that, like almost like a North Star, if you will, that y'all lean upon? And if so, like, what have you learned from them in this space?
For me, as far as mentors go, I'm still looking for one, like a solidified mentor. It seems like I got mentors here and there, family, friends, all that kind of stuff. But I will say that I've had mentors in the sense of, you know, friends of the family that recognize what I'm doing, and they are more, not interested, they're more knowledgeable about this area that I'm getting in than I am, obviously. And once they've convinced me that they see me and they want to help, I usually listen to their advice. And one person I'm thinking of in particular, their advice was, you gotta get out of town, man. You gotta get out of town. You gotta get out there more. You gotta step outside of yourself. You gotta get out of the house more, go into studio sessions, go to jam sessions. Yeah, that was the most valuable advice that I could have gotten most recently. Like, get out of the house, because you're gonna reach that, you're gonna hit the ceiling of your house eventually, and you're gonna have to go outside. And I needed to hear that. That's why I'm so happy to be here in New Orleans. This is my first time being here as a guitar player since I started learning at 18. So get out the house. That's something my mentor told me.
Sage advice for all, get out of the house. I love that.
I want to just kind of talk for a minute about all the women in the music industry that help younger women and kind of bring the next generation along with them and mentor them and guide them, because I feel like that's kind of the theme of my entire career, is working with the most incredible women. And I think it's the single thing that has made me who I am. I would not be here today if it weren't for these women. I think the first woman who mentored me and guided me was Tracy Gershon when I was 14 years old. And she's pretty much the very first person that I met in the music industry, period. And then from there, you know, Leslie Fram, who was at CMT at the time, and their organization Change the Conversation, which is an unbelievable group of women in Nashville fighting for equality in the music industry. And that was the very first event that I went to when I first moved to Nashville, and I met so many women. And from there, it just kind of built and built and built, and now I have an almost entirely female team. And it's really the most wonderful thing.
Also, don't mind my audible gasp over you saying Tracy Gershon. I love me some Tracy Gershon. Yeah. So it just brought me the utmost joy to hear these connective threads. I mean, we really, what a small world this is, truly. Would anyone else want to share about mentorship at all?
It's definitely the music industry. I think I'm really glad that it's collaboration is sort of baked into the fabric of the music as an art form, and so it's sort of I think it's a lot more community oriented than a lot of other arts, and so it's really cool that especially in Texas where I'm from, in Fort Worth and Austin, there's just these great communities of musicians that when I started playing really encouraged me and got to show me things that they knew, and it was really helpful to kind of have that community of musicians around me and to learn from and to see doing what I wanted to be doing. And so that's one thing I think about music that's pretty special is it's not quite as competitive, although I'm sure it can get, and especially in some of the more industry-oriented things. But as far as the actual music goes, I think it's nice to have that community.
Oh yeah. Mr. Tommy Emmanuel, he helps me a lot. Like he bring me up stage a few times, and also how he play. He play his own music. He also play something from Beatles, some old rock music. How he combine those music, like jazz music, blues music, those things together and into his own. And to play it just on one guitar, a one-man band, it is very incredible, and it a lot. And also he helped me a lot with my literature work. Without him, I cannot be here legally. Yeah, because of the visa, he helps me a lot. Yeah, and also I'm basically learning how he do everything on guitars and trying to create it on my ukulele.
Love that. I want to kind of switch gears yet again, and I think one really special thing that anyone in this room can do is, of course, it's great to be a mentor, especially to the next generation, but I also love to be mentored by this incredible generation, just to recognize there is so much that we can also learn too. And so I want to acknowledge, like, Gen Z in particular is just known for being dope entrepreneurs. Buddy, I want to say you have a degree in music entrepreneurship, yes?
Business administration.
Business administration, okay.
Georgia State.
Hell yeah.
I forgot about my degree, honestly.
So I'd love to hear a little bit from y'all about like what you've done to build your audiences and what you might share with maybe older people, like what they could learn from y'all in setting up your careers. I'm hitting y'all with some hard questions. I'm so sorry.
This is my favorite question that you've asked. Well, I was just going to say, I feel like artist development is something now that the artists have to do themselves. And I kind of learned that the hard way. And I remember when I was like 12, 13, 14, kind of starting in the industry and realizing nobody was going to come and do all the work and help until you built yourself up. And then people swoop in and come. But it takes you having to do all the groundwork first. So for 7 years, I ended up booking over 1,000 shows. Across the US, Europe a couple times, 100 radio interviews, just doing everything myself. And then finally, just in this past year, it literally took 7 years, I got my team in place. But it took a massive amount of work of doing every single thing on my own before I got to that point.
Really sage advice.
As far as what other generations can do to help this generation of musicians, I'm thinking about my old man, my pops. He's in the music industry. He's been in the music industry since I've been born. And he's in a different sector, we'll say. He makes a different type of music. But when I started doing my thing, I was kind of hoping he would notice and, kind of pass me the ball or something. I don't know what I was expecting, honestly. I guess I was expecting he would notice and connect some dots. But when I kind of realized that I was waiting for a while, I kind of started bringing it to him, like, hey, you know anybody in mind that I should talk to with my guitar and all that? And he told me straight up, like, man, you're doing something that I don't even know about. I gotta do some research. I gotta ask around. That's when I realized, okay, so I'm kind of in this by myself a little bit. And it was a very humbling feeling, but because of him and the people around him, I was able to find a direction, find a path to walk in. And so to answer your question, what can, previous generations do to help us? I think if you know a musician now that you care about and that you're really interested in, and you want to help, you truly want to help, take some time to set aside what you're doing to find out more about what it is that the person you're interested in helping is doing. I feel like if my pops really sat down with me and kind of put his phone on Do Not Disturb, or just said, hey son, I want to just talk to you for a couple of hours and just figure out more about what I could do to, I feel like if we had a conversation like that, I would have gotten somewhere a lot quicker. But yeah, that's my answer to the question. Previous generations can try to understand this generation, really try, you know what I mean? Which means give your time, donate your time. That's all.
Okay, so I started to do YouTube when there's lots of guitarists playing fingerstyle and cover the newest song on YouTube, and those people goes really well. So I try to do the same thing. I cover Billie Eilish, I cover Post Malone, everything on ukulele, and I just look at Billboard and see, okay, there's new top song, so I cover it. And yeah, at the first it gets lots of viewer, lots of subscriber, but then I realized those people are only there to watch few songs, or they are just the fans for some singer. So they will only watch me when I play their songs. So I start to realize that as a musician, when I arrange or cover those songs, I need to try to put some of my style or my music into that song, like put a little bit of my solo into the song, so the audience, the fans of other singer, they want to click in and they listen to some of the parts of Billie Eilish and some of the part of myself, so they can get into my music, and then they will have the interest to click in my other video, my other songs. Then they will even interested to listen to my original music, my album. If the song you cover and the song you wrote they share the same language.
I think that's a good point. That if you sort of try to play to an audience that maybe you aren't necessarily looking to have in the end, then it can sort of be a dangerous game. But I think it's good to sort of just try and stay true to yourself and what you really enjoy doing and what you could see yourself having a career in, having the stuff that you really love to do. Like, I love weird songs about weird topics, and they're not always the shortest songs, and they're not always the fastest songs. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But I sort of realized at some point that if I never play those weird songs for people, I can never really cultivate an audience or a want for that. And so recently I sort of tried to step out of just the comfort zone of what I know or I think people might like, and just looking into what I really am passionate of and stepping more into that. And it's been a lot better for me and my mentality, I think. So.
And to add to that, being uncomfortable is a necessity, and this business, this industry as a musician, because that's when you really learn a lot about yourself. You can't really learn about yourself being in your comfort zone or being stuck in your comfort zone, like getting out, like I said, getting out of the house and being in rooms that you may not know how to navigate. Over time, you come to realize that, yeah, I can do that, it's no problem. And I don't know, you just become a little bit more yourself when you're put in uncomfortable positions. And you mentioned that, and I had to say something, because I relate to that a lot.
I truly wish that we had more hours to have this conversation and to dig in about all the nuances of being a young person in this industry. But before we close, any things that y'all want to plug, that you want to share with the folks that are here currently?
Yes, I have a couple of flyers that I'd love to give out. I have 2 showcases this evening, or this morning, I guess, or next morning, 12 a.m. I'll be giving those out, and I really hope you guys can make it.
I'm very excited that my first original song is coming out in 4 days, and I think it's my first original release in almost 2 years, which is crazy. So I'm very excited to share it. It's called The Replay, and it's about when you're trying to fall asleep at night and you keep replaying your day over and over again in your head.
And okay, my first official showcase is tonight at 9 o'clock. Yeah, and also I'm now making my newest album. I just finished the 3rd song before I flew here. Yeah, and it's my first album with only just ukulele, no singing, no vocal. Yeah, there's a little bit of other instruments, but I try to keep everything just one ukulele. But I want to make an album that people can really listen to, because I find out lots of instrumental albums are too boring to listen. So yeah, even myself can only listen it to learn how to play, but I want to create something like classical music that can really listen to, and that can be listened even after years. So I'm trying it.
It's amazing. I have some showcases tonight. I've got some late ones. I got a 1 a.m. at the Free Range Records room, and then I got one at 2:30 at the Black Oak Artists room. So those should be fun. And then I got an official showcase on Saturday at I think 9ish. I don't really remember the time. But yeah, I've got an album I released last year called Voices, and yeah, I'm just real excited to be here. I'm glad I got to be here and talk with all y'all.
Thank you so much, y'all. I want to give a nice big round of applause for all of our wonderful panelists today. Go check out their music, go support them online, pay for their CDs, don't download Spotify, but go see them, go see their showcases. Thanks again, y'all. Thank you so much for being here today.